Hello and welcome to Health Matters on Channels Television. Thank you for making us your choice. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. The leading causes of vision impairment and blindness are uncorrected refractive errors and cataracts. This is according to the World Health Organization, which also says at least 2.2 billion people worldwide have a near or distant vision impairment. In at least 1 billion, or almost half of these cases, vision impairment could have been prevented or has yet to be addressed. The majority of people with vision impairment and blindness are over the age of 50. However, vision loss can affect people of all ages. In the studio with me is the president of the Ophthalmological Society of Nigeria and medical director of the Eye Doctors Group of Clinics, Dr. Abiola Oyeleye. He's also a member of the National Eye Health Committee. You're welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Now, in trying to look at some things for the program, it came out that distance vision impairment is about 88.4 million, cataracts 94 million, but presbyopia is 826 million. What is presbyopia?
Okay. Presbyopia, by definition, is the situation whereby the lens in your eye doesn't focus and refocus as it used to. Usually happens by around the age of 40 years. The elasticity of the lens is reducing gradually as we get older. So the critical point is around the age of 40. So normally we expect people to be able to focus in the distance and to refocus for near. But when they get to around the age of 40, they find out the refocusing for near is difficult, so they start moving things away from them. Your arms get longer.
And looking for light.
Looking for light, turning things around. So those are the main things, those are the main symptoms of presbyopia.
I take it that this condition is not avoidable. It's not one of the avoidable ones.
It's not avoidable. However, it affects different people at different stages of life. Now, it's been actually shown that in the eastern parts of Nigeria, people from the Igbo origin, they have presbyopia earlier than people from other parts of Nigeria.
Any reason why?
We don't know why. But it's been well documented.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so someone with presbyopia, what do you do for the person to see better? I cannot imagine life without reading.
Okay. What you do eventually is quite simple. Prescribe reading glasses. However, we need to do a thorough test of the eyes to ensure that there are not any other reasons that's causing this. And when you do that, it's always a good thing to look for other diseases that may not have symptoms. So eventually you'll end up prescribing glasses to help presbyopia, but it's an opportunity to do a comprehensive eye examination.
Okay. Why do you think so many of these conditions are not addressed? What's the reason?
Okay. Funds is a key thing.
Money is an issue.
Money is an issue. In a lot of the Western countries, they have programs whereby at certain stages of life, you have certain tests which are free. And then they are encouraged to go there for the free tests. And based on what is found out there, then treatment is prescribed. In Nigeria and other African countries, we find out that a lot of people may not even be able to afford a pair of glasses. And a pair of glasses may be what they need. As we've said, as you had said in your introduction, refractive error, which is presbyopia, short-sighted, long-sightedness, they are all parts of what we call refractive errors. And that is the greatest cause of visual impairment in the world.
Okay, I'm almost afraid to say what is the solution to this. But I do know that some people have said they can get some cheap frames on the market.
Yes.
At least that should bring down the cost a bit.
Yes, I mean...
How do they get around it?
I think at the end of the day, like I said, you'll end up prescribing glasses, but it's good to have everything. Now, not every part of the country you have available health facilities. Sometimes they're available, but it's not accessible.
Okay.
Sometimes you have both of them available and accessible, but it's not affordable. So you have to look at so many different factors. So what the solution might be in an urban area might be different from a rural area. So one needs to look at the local geography and decide what's the best way to go. But yes, you can get some off-the-shelf glasses, as they are called. But I'd like to stress, have an eye test. I think that's very important.
Okay, how often do we have this eye test?
Right, depends on your age and your stage in life. So let's start from birth. Your first eye test is actually at birth.
It is?
Yes, the midwife or even your parents look at your eyes. And if they notice anything that they think might be funny, they'll raise their alarm.
The only one I know is this follow my finger kind of eye test you do to the baby.
Yeah.
Are there others?
Follow my finger eye test, yes, it depends on how, when you say babies, are they in the first 6 to 8 months, 8 weeks of life? Is it the first year of life? There are quite a lot of others. First of all, just as the child grows up or gets to probably about 3-4 months or so, the mother says, oh, he doesn't seem to be recognized or looking towards my face. He's looking everywhere else. So those are pointers.
Okay.
So sometimes just listening to the parents alone, it's good enough to raise suspicion, and then you organize a formal test. Before the child starts primary school and other stages of education, before he starts secondary school, before university, and after that, probably every 2 years, except if you have a family history of eye conditions, we may want you to test more regularly than that.
A lot of children have suffered
Yes.
when they are colorblind. You know, they learn colors in school.
Yeah.
And they say, what is this color? It's red, the child gets a slap. Okay, it must be blue, the child gets a slap. Okay, maybe it's yellow, you know, and they tell the parent that this child is not serious. Is there a way of discovering color blindness before the child is beaten to death in that class?
Well, it's not just color blindness. Also, even sometimes they are short-sighted.
Well, at least that one is a bit more apparent than
Right.
color blindness.
Yes. Well, actually, what happens if the child, and a lot of the educational people know this, if the child struggles with color, they'll wonder, is there color blindness or not? And there are various degrees of color blindness. And there are some easy ways, easy charts, which we as professionals use to check color blindness.
Okay.
But the important thing is
Is this
that
in a routine check?
it's not done in all routine checks. However, it's something that could easily be incorporated in school tests. And basically, they just say, what's this color, what's that color, what's that color, or show you some numbers on different backgrounds. And once you can't read those numbers, they'll be able to say whether you're malingering, i.e., you're not really colorblind, but you're pretending
to be,
or whether you're actually colorblind, and how bad the color blindness is. It's actually much more common in males than females. Yes.
Okay, there's this other thing that people say. They say if you watch TV, you get short-sighted. That more people are becoming short-sighted because they're watching TV. Is that true, or is it just a function of where they're watching the TV from, near or far?
Okay. Now, let me just expand this question a little bit. What people have noticed recently is that there is more short-sightedness in the world. Okay? Before, when you look at the figures, it's about 7 to 8% of children of school age who are short-sighted. Now it's risen to 20-30%.
Wow, that's
in some countries, it's 90-95%. Now, after COVID or during COVID, a lot of children are using the screens and their phones and things like that. And they found out all over the world, there seems to be an increase in short-sightedness. So the question was asked, is it because they're using the screens that they're getting short-sighted because they live in a near world?
Okay.
So they get used to that. The answer was yes initially. But what research now is showing is that the element of having deprivation from natural sunlight
Aha.
It's very important.
Okay.
So it's not just the fact that they're using this, also they are deprived of natural sunlight.
No outdoor life.
No outdoor life. So that's why it's good for children to run around outside and play
Another
around.
reason to let them run around.
Another reason, yet another reason.
Okay, explain to us what cataract is.
Okay, right. A cataract is the lens in your eye going cloudy. We are all born with a lens in our eyes, which is clear. As we get older, the nature of the lens changes. And at a certain stage in life, it gets cloudy that it affects our vision. That is a cataract. Normally people say the number one cause is age, number two age, number three age, but there are so many different causes of cataracts. Some children are born with cataracts. We call that congenital cataracts.
Is it because of an injury inside the wound?
It could be because of medication used inside, because of infection used at the wound, used during pregnancy, and sometimes it might be due to the fact that there is a genetic predisposition to having this thing, i.e. somebody in the family had congenital cataracts and this keeps on going around. So there are quite a few various factors.
So from the reasons you're giving,
Yes.
the preventive factor would be don't take medication unless you tell your doctor.
During pregnancy?
During pregnancy.
Well, the first 3 months, the first trimester of pregnancy, it's advised you really don't want people to use medication. Now, the problem there is that the first 4 to 6 weeks, the ladies don't know they're pregnant.
Oh, that is true.
Right. So sometimes, unknowingly, people are taking medication. I remember years ago, I can't remember what year it is now, but 40, 50 years ago or more, there used to be a medication for sickness during pregnancy.
Oh, thalidomide.
It was called thalidomide.
Yes.
And thalidomide was supposed to be a wonderful drug that cures all this early morning sickness. And what happened later? They started seeing children born with limb deformities.
Mm-hmm.
So since then, the medical circle has been very, very reluctant to advise any medication during the first trimester of pregnancy, because thalidomide was supposed to be just a wonder drug, and then see what happened. So now you'd hardly have people recommending any medication within the first trimester of pregnancy.
How do you help somebody who has a cataract?
Right. Now, first of all, a thorough assessment and a diagnosis that, yes, this is indeed a problem with the lens in the eye. To conclude that, you must also look at other parts of the eyes. For example, are there other what we call comorbidities? Are there other things that are common with cataract? Is there glaucoma? Are there problems with the retina? And those sort of things are things that will affect the outcome of cataract surgery. So you want to do a thorough examination. And also, you want to ask, is there a history of cataracts in the family? Is there a history of trauma to the eye? So there's so many things you want to ascertain. Now, once you've come to the diagnosis of cataracts, and you've done tests and you are convinced that if you go through the operation, the chances are that you will get very good results, then go ahead. The success rate of cataract surgery is one of the greatest success rates of any medical operation.
So almost
90%
100%.
and above. 90% and
90
above.
and above.
If you go to the right place.
But then there's the issue of the cost again coming up.
Right, okay.
So we need to look for a lot of free programs for the eyes somehow.
Well, no, I don't think it always needs to be free. But where I was going to that, if you go to the right place, we had a Nigerian blindness survey 2005 to 2007. A lot of people went to these traditional people that they just use a little stick to dislodge the cataracts out of place.
So it's true.
We call that couching, okay? And that was done the days before Christ, and it's still being done today. So
the infection that could cause?
Oh, yes. So because of that, a lot of people go that way. Then they say, oh, what are the cataract surgery results in Nigeria? We have to add those to the figures of those who use the Western or modern techniques, and it brings the figures down. But if you take out those figures, cataract surgery results are quite good.
Okay. I think we'll just On that note, go on a short break.
Okay.
We're taking a short break now. Please stay with us. This is so interesting. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back. We're talking about preserving sight on Channels Television on Health Matters with Dr. Abiola Oyeleye. You can call 0808 054 2233 if you have any question on sight generally. You can also tweet at CTV_Mary A, and you can send email moalale@channelstv.com while we continue with the program. Doctor, there's this thing called river blindness. It used to be very prevalent. I don't know whether it's a lot now. What was that about, and can it be avoided?
Okay. River blindness is one of the causes of blindness in our sort of environment. And there's a worm called, or it's called onchocerciasis, okay? Now, luckily, it's not everywhere within our environment.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, it's usually, as it's called, river blindness. It's usually around where you have rivers going through. So it's not everywhere in our environment. And also because of our lifestyle, we find out that other things have taken over in terms of being more prevalent as causes of eye problem, like hypertension, diabetes.
Oh, the modern day diseases.
Yeah, so they are now pushing down the onchocerciasis, the trachomas, the other things that we traditionally know that used to cause eye problems, but they're still there. But the modern day diseases are
But
sort
do
of
those
like
diseases have medication though?
Oh yes,
Trachoma,
some of them have
onchocerciasis.
medication, and some of them have treatment programs. Trachoma, which we also mentioned, is something that the
that happens
WHO
in the north.
more in the north, and you have a lot of parasites or the flies going around the eyes and causing scarring on the eyelids. Your eyelashes turn in and start rubbing on your eyes and things like that.
And scarring
the
cornea.
Yes. So a lot of, you've done your homework. A lot of research and a lot of work was done by WHO and related agencies. And you hardly find any trachoma now, active trachoma. But I mean, we still have those things depending on the access to healthcare. But basically, lifestyle modifications, making sure your environment is clean and things like that, are cutting these down.
We're having a call from Olumide in Lagos. Hello, Olumide. What's your question?
Hello, Mary. Yeah, I want to ask the body has a very good sight. You can see just about any. Is there any for testing for such a person? Doesn't have color blindness, doesn't seem to have cataracts or anything. Is there a need for testing the sight for such a person?
All right. Okay.
Thank you.
That's a good one. Somebody who has good vision, 20/26, no color blindness, should he have an eye test? Is there a need?
Yes, and there's a big need. There's a big need. Now, we could have conditions whereby you have no symptoms at all until it's really, really advanced.
Okay, that sounds like glaucoma.
Yes, yeah, right. The number one reason that this may happen is what we call glaucoma. Glaucoma is the number one cause of irreversible blindness, okay? Cataract is the number one cause of reversible blindness. But when we're talking about irreversible, we're talking about glaucoma. And you will not know that you have glaucoma until it's quite advanced. So that's why it's called the silent thief of sight. Okay. So as a routine test, this could be picked up. So where Olumide is, why it's a very good question, is that you could think everything is fine. You could tell everybody that, I can see a mile away, I don't have a problem. No. Go for a test. The silent thief of sight may be there or other conditions. So have your eyes tested.
Okay, but going back to cataract, which you said is number one cause of reversible blindness.
That's right.
So you've looked at the cataract, ensured that that's the only problem, and taking it out. That entails taking the lens out, right?
Yes.
So what do you do for the eye after that.
Right.
Because you've taken out power from the eye,
That's
so
right.
to speak.
So the lens is what helps you focus on the retina. You have two parts of the eye that focus, the cornea and the lens. And if the lens, there's a problem with the lens, and you take that out, then you need to replace the lens that was taken out. And we call that an intraocular lens.
Okay.
That's a
Just
lens
a minute.
inside
Let me
the eye.
cut you there to take a call from Bukola in the UK. Hello?
I'm waiting here.
Hello, Bukola.
Hello?
Yeah. What's your question?
Yeah, Bukola calling from UK.
You're
Yeah,
welcome.
my question is that there was films and generator films in my eye. And before I left Nigeria, I changed to another glasses. And arriving in the UK after 3 months, I changed another glasses. So I don't know, maybe it's the generator film that sent me to coma. Then I decided to continue my treatment here.
Okay. Thank you very much, Bukola.
Generation field or?
Generator fumes.
Oh, generator fumes. Okay.
Could that be
fine.
a problem with the refractive?
Right. Generator fumes cause irritation
Okay.
on the surface of the eye. Okay. And usually that could lead to having dryness of the eye. Okay.
Okay.
And usually what we do is, first of all, try and avoid the fumes in terms of the eyes. And secondly, we could give you lubricating drops. Generator fumes could also cause other problems with other parts of the body, like the respiratory system especially, whereby your breathing will be labored, you have asthma and things like that. And they give you medication to treat that, and the medication has side effects in the eyes.
Okay.
Yes.
But Bukola is talking about having to change her glasses twice.
Yes, because the surface of the eye gets irritated. And sometimes, a lot of times, we rub the eyes. So our refractive power may change, but that is only in extreme cases.
Okay.
That's only in extreme cases. If it's just the fumes and you treat it by giving lubricants, it shouldn't cause the constant change in refractive error.
I want to mention something that is not usually mentioned. Age-related macular degeneration.
Yes.
What is that, and is it reversible too?
Okay. Age-related macular degeneration is a problem with the retina. The retina is like the film of a camera that we used to have in those days. In those days, you focus your lens, and then depends on the type of film you have, then it's captured, and then you now take that film for development. So the retina is like the film of a camera. The macula, which you mentioned, is the center of the retina. So age-related macular degeneration means degeneration on the retina, on the center of the retina, due to age. Now, first of all, it's not as common in our environment as in the UK, where Bukola called from also.
Okay.
Now, but there are two main types. We call one the dry type and the wet type. But basically, in the dry type, it comes on very slowly. And in the wet type, it can come on acutely because of some vascular changes on the surface of the eye. Now, what is the treatment? There have been a lot of studies, and age-related macular degeneration is one of the conditions whereby eye vitamins are useful if you have a certain type of age-related macular degeneration. You give eye vitamins. Now everybody takes eye vitamins for every reason. Even they could give some children eye vitamins. You know, adults who are seeing well could be given eye vitamins.
But this improves the condition, right?
No. Well, in certain types of macular degeneration, yes. But in the population, we don't all need to take vitamins.
Okay. I'm going to have to stop you there.
Okay.
But that was a very good one. I've not heard that before.
Yes.
Our time is up. Thank you so much for coming, Doctor.
So quick.
It's been wonderful. Thank you for staying with us, and thanks so much for calling in and for writing in. Have a great day. I am Mary Alale Yusuf.